In 1941, an entire room, walls, ceiling, floor, every panel, every fixture was taken apart and vanished from history. It was worth $500 million. It took 36 hours to steal. It has never been found. The Vintage Files Archive has recovered case file 007, the Amber Room, Catherine Palace, Russia, the object that czars called their greatest treasure, and that the Third Reich decided belonged to them. In 1701, Prussian craftsmen began work on something that had never been attempted. A room constructed entirely from amber, not decorated with amber, not accented with amber, but built from it. Over 6 tons of Baltic amber, hand-carved into mosaic panels, inlaid with gold leaf, backed with mirrors, fitted with gemstones and ivory. It took over a decade to complete. When the Prussian king, Frederick I, gifted it to Tsar Peter the Great of Russia in 1716, it was transported to St. Petersburg panel by panel and installed in the Catherine Palace, where it remained for over 200 years. It covered nearly 600 square feet of wall space. When candlelight hit it, the room glowed. Russian royalty called it the 8th wonder of the world. In today's values, historians estimate the Amber Room was worth $500 million.
I will call this the greatest gift ever received.
For 220 years, the Amber Room sat in Catherine Palace outside St. Petersburg, restored, expanded, admired by everyone who stood inside it. Russian czars used it as a meditation room. Catherine the Great added more panels. Foreign dignitaries were brought into it as a demonstration of Russian cultural power. It was not just a room, it was an argument. Russia had produced something irreplaceable, something the rest of the world could not match. By 1941, the archive notes the Soviet government considered the Amber Room to be the single most irreplaceable cultural object in Russian history. On June 22, 1941, Nazi Germany launched Operation Barbarossa, the invasion of the Soviet Union. Within weeks, German forces were advancing toward Leningrad. Soviet curators at Catherine Palace attempted to dismantle the Amber Room for safekeeping. But the amber had become too fragile over 2 centuries. The panels cracked when touched. They covered them in wallpaper and hoped the Germans would not notice. The Germans noticed. Wehrmacht soldiers and SS art specialists arrived at Catherine Palace in September 1941. They recognized exactly what they were looking at. In 36 hours, German soldiers dismantled the entire Amber Room. Every panel, every mirror, every gilded fixture, packed it into 27 crates and loaded it onto trucks. The Amber Room left Russia in late 1941. The Soviet curators watched it go. Most of them did not survive the war. The crates arrived in Königsberg, the cultural capital of German East Prussia on the Baltic coast. The Amber Room was unpacked and reassembled in Königsberg Castle, where it was displayed to Nazi officials and documented in photographs. Those photographs are the last confirmed images of the Amber Room intact. In 1944, the Allied bombing campaign began targeting Königsberg. The city was devastated. Königsberg Castle was heavily damaged. When Soviet forces finally took the city in April 1945, the Amber Room was gone. The room where it had been displayed was empty. No crates, no panels, no trail. The archive notes that at least 4 different Nazi officials gave 4 different accounts of where the crates had been sent. None of the accounts led anywhere. The search for the Amber Room has been ongoing for 80 years. Governments, treasure hunters, historians, and intelligence agencies have followed hundreds of leads. The theories are everywhere. The crates were destroyed in the Allied bombing of Königsberg, burned to ash along with the castle. They were loaded onto a German ship, the Wilhelm Gustloff, which was sunk by a Soviet submarine in January 1945, one of the deadliest maritime disasters in history. They were moved to a salt mine in Germany or Poland, still sealed, still waiting. A former Soviet intelligence officer claimed in the 1990s that the KGB had found the Amber Room decades earlier and reburied it. None of these theories have been confirmed. None have been definitively ruled out. In 1979, the Soviet government, tired of waiting, commissioned a full reconstruction of the Amber Room from scratch. It took 24 years and $11 million to complete. The replica was unveiled in 2003 in the restored Catherine Palace. It is extraordinary. It is not the original. The Amber Room sits in a category of its own. Not a missing painting, not a stolen artifact, but an entire environment. A room. Something designed to surround you, to immerse you, to make you feel the weight of human craftsmanship accumulated across centuries. The people who built it are long dead. The people who saw it in candlelight are long dead. The people who stole it are long dead. And somewhere, in a collapsed bunker, at the bottom of the Baltic, under a building in Kaliningrad, the panels may still exist. Amber does not decay. The archive notes that if the Amber Room survived its disappearance intact, it is still out there, waiting. The file on the Amber Room cannot be closed because the object itself has never been declared destroyed. It is simply missing. $500 million, 6 tons of amber, 27 crates, 80 years, no answer. If this file reached you, subscribe. The archive has more rooms that haven't been opened yet.